Welcome to the RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Michael Rodriguez.
I am Sam Allman.
I'm Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
And I'm Michael Spiffle Webben.
Hey guys, and today we'll be discussing Chapter 2 of the Sailor Moon, Another Story, entitled In Search of the Stones. Now, before we get started, I want to ask, how was everyone's week?
My week was really good. I got mostly unpacked. There's like 3 boxes that are not unpacked. I set up my desk like with cable management and everything and hung up all my ludicrous amounts of Spider-Man memorabilia, and
nice.
everything's starting to feel like home, which is great.
What about you, Eli?
I started a new shift and I'm tired as fuck. Yeah.
It's been your mood all week.
Yeah, it's a big mood right now. I started the same shift that Michael Rodriguez is on. Yeah, with Sunday, Monday off, I work 3:30 to 12:30. I hate it. I hate everything about it, except that I get to be there with Michael Rodriguez and Sam.
I don't even know which AMs and PMs those are, but either way, that's bad.
It's PM to AM.
Gotcha.
It's a pretty rough shift.
Yeah,
it's a pretty rough shift to have.
I will say that like you get used to it in not very long, but unfortunately you then have to go back to normal people's schedule 3 months from now. So
yeah, I've only got 3 months. Yeah, I've only got 3 months. I'm learning about a new department that I want to join, so that I can be better at it for when I go to the next interviews. Because I will attempt the next interviews. So
good job.
Thank you.
Right.
So yeah, I'm doing that until September. I will say the one nice thing so far. I took Sam's advice and I kept my same sleep schedule more or less. It's really nice having a whole bunch of time before work to get shit done because I feel way more motivated than if it's after work. Plus, nobody's out at the grocery store at 9 a.m.
They're not.
No.
It's beautiful.
Nice.
HEB is actually a good place to go at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
That is nice.
I dropped Ken off at the train station yesterday, and then I went to Target because I was like, I need new pajama pants and I need groceries, and Target wasn't even open yet.
Wow.
Yeah. It was.
You forget that places like Target are not open sometimes.
Yeah, they don't open until 8 a.m. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to sit in the car a few minutes and catch Pokemon. So that was cool. It's just going to be an adjustment for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel you will succeed at it because you succeed at everything you do.
Aw, thank you.
It's true.
That's so sweet.
What about you, Spiffle?
I'm pretty good. My spouse was out of the state for most of the week, which was sad. For reasons somewhat related to that, but also I think unrelated, I kind of just spiraled into being depressed and lazy for 4 straight days. I also started replaying Metal Gear Solid 5, which is not a good decision because that game is an endless well of addictiveness that you can just sink into, and that's not a good thing to do when you're also spiraling into depression.
Oh, I know that feeling.
It's
very
actually
good.
a lot of that game.
On that note, real quick, when I broke up with my last girlfriend, I bought a cat and Civilization 5 that same day, which was not a good move. Then I played Civilization 5 for about 3 weeks straight.
Mm-hmm.
No sleep, no eating, no nothing.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, but aside from that, I'm good. Even though I am married, as y'all know, I do have a brand new girlfriend, and that is Sailor Mercury. And yeah, that's it for me.
Awesome. So should we get started?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's kick it.
Great. Last time on Sailor Moon, Destiny was patched.
Yep.
So this week, we're heading on a journey with each of the 4 Guardians individually to find the 4 Generals' Lightstones. And we go in the order that the original 4 after Sailor Moon showed up in the anime and manga, which, if you don't know, is Mercury, then Mars, then Jupiter, then Venus.
Mm-hmm.
So, as Spiffle mentioned during last week's podcast at the end, Mercury starts off immediately on the top of the highest mountain in Europe. Why? Yep. We don't know. That's just where the sailor teleport sent her. It's just how that happens sometimes.
You know, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I do want to say, like, looking back at her story, I went back and I was like, how the fuck did she get there?
I think she's fine.
Like,
I think it's like a time skip.
I was like, what happened that she could get up that fucking mountain and then fall, and then everything else we played happened? Okay, all right, that's all I have to say about that. Okay, go ahead.
Is that what you were going to say earlier?
Yeah, that's like literally how I feel. Like, I feel like this response should have come at the end of you explaining it all. But how did she get on the mountain?
Well,
I want to know.
Captain Kirk climbing a mountain. Why is he on the mountain?
Here's my theory. So
did they just like fly on an airplane and like?
I think she just got really lost trying to get to the actual place where she was trying to go.
The Guardians actually have something called Sailor Teleport, where they all like hold hands and they concentrate real hard, and then they can teleport together. However, usually they do that together. So I think, like, since they needed to split up, what probably happened is they all just landed in, like, the general vicinity of where they needed to be. And so, like, it went haywire, and Mercury's put her on top of the fucking mountain. And she's just like,
okay, I'm gonna.
No, I know the solution. Okay, so she teleported exactly where her little Sailor Scout teleportation GPS said on her map. The thing is, it's a mountain with lots of caves, right? So it's a 2-dimensional map, and the gym was directly below that. So she's like, all right, time to teleport exactly where the Chaos Emerald is, and then she is, a mile above it on top of a mountain. Yeah. It's like, where we dropping, lads?
So I'm gonna go with Eli's thing because that's my headcanon. Well, they just teleported and she like stumbled. There's like apparition from Harry Potter.
I appreciate how well Spiffles works for Mercury, but it doesn't work for the other three. So
no, it doesn't.
That's true.
It's a purely mountain-based explanation.
Yeah. So she falls off because she's on top of a snowy mountain in high heels. Somehow.
Well, doesn't something like Yomu like try to attack her?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. There's some Yoma that come after her, and she backs up and she falls off the cliff.
I get it. You're like startled, but it was a long way to back up. You're a superhero. Hero.
You're on a okay.
So you can kill these guys in one hit.
Bear in mind, no, she could not at that point.
No, she was still level 6.
She was still only level 6.
In a scripted plot battle, she could.
She was still only level 6. There were 6 of them that came after her, as I recall. It was a big group, and she's Sailor Mercury, the weakest one. Like, if this were a true RPG and not like Baby's First RPG, her abilities would all be for support. She would like shroud the party in mist so that they were less likely to be hit. Mm-hmm. She would freeze the enemies.
Essentially, just has the same attacks.
Yeah. I mean, they basically all have does group damage, does single target damage, and that's it. Except Sailor Moon and
Moon and Chibi have healing spells, and I want them. I needed healing spells for this chapter.
It would have helped a lot. So somehow falling off the cliff doesn't kill her. I'm going with she's the guardian of water, so the ice decided she could live. And she's found by a man named Hans, who takes her back to his house in a place called Kyness Village. Yeah. I made the I am Hans and I am Franz, and we are going to pump you up joke on my podcast or on my Let's Play.
Wait, what is that? What is that from?
It's from SNL.
Yes, that's right. I was like, I know that reference.
Yeah. I understood that reference. So we find out that Hans's mother is really sick. Mercury, being an aspiring doctor, tries to help, but Hans is like, why does everyone turn into a doctor when someone's sick? We already tried this shit. You're just a girl. We need a real doctor.
Stop girl-splaining.
Yeah.
So I love. So I don't know if this is at the beginning or when you leave and come back, because that's all you have to do to progress the story.
Yeah.
But so she's like, oh, she just has a fever? Well, I got some Tylenol in my pocket. Like, you just want me to, like, give her some medicine? He's like, no, you can't do that. She's like, are you sure? He's like, only Dr. Swartz can do it. She's like, can I try? Like, I happen to be a genius. Like, just let me give her some Tylenol. I'm sure she'll be okay.
She's like, also, your mother's dying. She needs something right now. So why don't you give her this? And he's like, no, I don't think so, bitch.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of what
I don't trust it.
Speaking of what Sandra said about leaving briefly, the structure of this is actually quite funny, and I mean the whole game is kind of like this. When you first wake up in the house, you see Han standing next to what is clearly some sort of sick and dying person. Mm-hmm. But if you talk to him, he doesn't say anything about it. He's just like, oh, you're up, and that's it. You cannot interact with this plot point at all until you leave the house, explore or don't explore, and then come back.
Like most men.
And then there's a cutscene about the actual sick mother. But it's just funny because, like, think about that in plot context. It's like she walks out of her room, sees the person who just rescued her standing next to, again, a very obviously about to die person, and she's just like, well, bye.
Yeah,
go check
see ya.
down.
Yeah.
And then later she comes in and she's like, oh no, this is so sad. Alexa, play Despacito. It's like, bitch, you didn't care 5 minutes ago when you walked straight past me to go buy accessories.
Speaking of exploring or choosing not to, there's something that this chapter did. If it did it in the first chapter, I just didn't find it. But there's an NPC in each town that asks you if you're lost.
Yes.
And if you say yes, it's like, oh, well, have you talked to so-and-so? And gives you a non-spoilery hint on where to go to find out what's next. And so
actually,
this
the
one
previous
was like,
chapters had that too.
Yeah, I just didn't find it in chapter 1.
Yeah, the town was too big to find.
Yeah.
Actually find it. Yeah.
But yeah, so I actually use that here on Mercury because I walk out and I can't do anything in the town, and I'm like, what the heck? It's like, did you talk to Hans? And I was like, well, I did, but let me go back, I guess. And so I go in there, and then I'm like, oh hey, there's more plot.
So Mercury's like, well, okay, I guess, like, they say that Dr. Schwartz is in Andang Village, so Mercury agrees to go find him over there. So you go to Andang, and Schwartz isn't there. Turns out
on the way to Andang, we realized how much harder this game is when you don't have a party of 5 people.
Yeah. You need accessories on each of the individual girls, or else they will get rocked so hard.
Yeah. And the accessories are attached by a lot. Also, you can stack multiple of the same accessories. You can wear like 3 tiaras, which is extremely funny to me.
I'm just gonna cover myself in tiaras.
My attack is so strong right now, you guys. I'm wearing 3 fucking tiaras.
Yeah, I found that the cadence to get through these chapters, because each chapter has like a level 1 mobs and a level 2 mobs. So
just like Rogue Galaxy.
Yeah. So I put on speed and defense to go through the level 1 mobs until I was about level 10, and then I put on defense and defense and defense to go into the other mobs, because at about level 10 you can one-shot everything, like, even without accessories. But they still one-shot you until you're like level 20. So I just stack the shit out of defense.
Yeah, the first order of business is making it where they can't one-shot you. But then after you get past that point, because as we haven't mentioned yet, the level up curve in this game is obscene.
Yeah.
I start off in an area doing like 5 damage, and I'm like, this sucks. And then I level up once or twice, and I'm like, okay, now I'm doing 30 damage. That's reasonable. Then I level up a few more times, and it's like, now you're doing 300 damage with every physical attack.
The scale is a little weird.
For all of them, but especially for Mercury's, I had to switch my accessories one more time. So first I stacked defense so that I don't get one-shotted. But the boss has obscene defense.
Yeah.
And her attack is not nothing, but it's also like, it's whatever. By this point I have a lot of HP and I can use healing items, so it's not the end of the world. So if you don't stack attack, you're doing fucking single digits for that boss. which makes it impossible. So yeah, I had to switch over to attack when I got to the boss.
Well,
Yeah,
we will get to that.
oh yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
good point.
Yeah.
But this game got hard.
Yeah.
It
So,
really did.
Schwartz isn't an Angdang. He's hiding out in a cave for some reason, northwest of the village. So we go up through the maze and find that cave. There's like a little living space and a save point, but no one's there, so we have to go further in the cave. We finally find Dr. Schwartz, and he doesn't notice Mercury, who has to yell at him, which is hilarious because Mercury is like the sweetest, most soft-spoken girl as out of the original 5, and hearing her yell is very, very uncommon. But it's always hilarious when it happens.
So this cutscene right here, like in real time, takes like 2 minutes of mostly the screen just like not doing anything while he's just
Schwartz
minding his
walking
business.
around. Yeah.
It's
And so-
quite good. It's one of those things where you can't even. The only way you can tell it's a cutscene is that you try to hit the directional buttons and nothing happens. And you're like, oh,
Yeah.
we're still in a cutscene. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I ended up it was shortly after this point that I was like, you know what? I think scan lines would look great on the on this game. Let me go and mess with the scan line filters, and crashed my emulator, so I had to do the entire chapter over again. So I had mapped fast forward to a controller button, and with fast forward, the scene still took like 2 minutes.
So she finally gets his attention, and then the grossness begins.
Yep.
Schwartz is like, oh, what a pretty girl, and he's like, I'm gonna be 60 this year. How old are you? And she's like, 15. And he asks about when her birthday is. She tells him September 10th, and he's like, oh, you're a Virgo, the virgin. And he asks if Mercury has a boyfriend, and I'm just like, oh, good, she has an out, because she says she does.
But then she's also like doesn't want to be like teased by the other Sailor Scouts as if they can hear her. And she's like,
Yeah,
but it's not Urawa, of course.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
that's not
She's
him.
like, is it, what is, yeah, I'm not, it's just, I have a boyfriend, but it's not the guy that I was going to say. But yeah, so Schwartz finally backs off, but like mentions, he's just like, I just go crazy around cute girls because I'm a horrible pederast. And it's played for laughs, and I'm sure this was funny when I was a kid, but it's just kind of gross and disturbing now.
It's very
Well, it's also
gross and disturbing.
Yeah, well, it's also just cheap. It's one of the most common, like, tropey, lazy jokes in, like, any anime. It's just weird. It's like, it's almost like, it's like the writers can't help themselves. It's like, oh, the main character's a girl, here's a new male character. Even ignoring the fact that he's an old guy, it's just like, oh, they must hit on her. It's like a requirement. It's like, no, you can just, like, stay your hand. It's not that fucking hard.
Yeah, it was the 90s. It was
funny.
a different time.
Like the funny thing is about it being a trope is that's very true, and it was such a trope they had to do it 4 times in this chapter.
Oh my god, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's like they feel like they have to. It's almost like this is so silly, but y'all seen the Hitchhiker's Guide movie?
Oh yeah.
Remember when he's like, I think this is only in the movie, not in the book. The guy's talking about how they're demolishing the house to make a bypass, and he's like, "Why do you need to make a bypass?" And he's just like, "You've
have
got
to build bypasses."
You've got to build bypasses.
Yeah, it's that. You have to have old guys hit on young girls. So Mercury explains the situation with Hans's mom and gets Schwartz to go back with her to Kynes, which Schwartz decides is going on a date with a cute girl. Yeah.
So one thing I thought was like cool about this, not really cool, just like oh, that's neat, is in every other game you get an escort mission like this, like, okay, well, I'll come with you. They're like sitting on the back row and you have to defend them as well, but there's no indication whatsoever that you have a person traveling with you.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
not
it's not even like on the menu screen or anything. It's just like they're not there until they pop out of you later.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's baby's first escort quest, and they go real easy on you. So we head back to Kynes, and Schwartz takes a look at Hans's mom and says they need a thing called Haliomos, I guess. I'm not sure exactly how it's supposed to be.
Haley Kiyoko
Yeah.
Moss.
Yeah.
Rizzo gets that one.
But yeah, so Mercury offers to get it, and Hans says, "No, I'll do it because you're a girl."
As if he wasn't too scared to go outside, and Mercury was like, "It's fine, I'm a superhero. Let me go and do it."
He didn't just watch her annihilate people.
Yeah,
Oh, wait,
yeah.
no, Hans didn't. Sorry.
I wish they would have
Forced it.
included that. Like after a few battles, he just pops out of it and he's just like, "Wow," and then goes back in. Like that would have been like a really that would have been like a really appropriate '90s response for like a dude being impressed with something like this. Just like, "Hey, that's cool," and then he just like goes back in, or you don't hear anything about him again.
That would have been hilarious.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's the end of the story. Yep.
I definitely think that the man character should basically just exist to pop out, compliment the girl character, and then never be heard from again.
I agree.
Yes.
That would be great.
In this game, that's exactly how I feel.
Totally. Improvement.
So Mercury, being the sweetheart that she is just like, "Well, you can come with me," and Hans is like, "Ugh, fine." So we head back to the cave, and there's a passage behind where Shorts was hanging out. We go through that. The Haliomos is like way up high. So Hans climbs up to get it, but an earthquake happens, and it knocks Hans and the Haliomos down, and it opens another passage. So they pick up the Haliomos. Ooh, excuse me. Go through the passage, and they find Zoisite's Lightstone. We get our first like big choice here. We have the chance to either help Hans's mom first or go after the stone. And I don't think actually that you can choose no, but I didn't try. I just want to.
I did.
Oh, okay.
Does it let you go after the stone first, or do you have to go back?
Yeah. So you are like, okay, so we have this medicine, but right now I've got to get this stone, okay? So let's go. And then Hans is like, well, you can't just jump down there. And she's like, okay, that's right. Yeah, there's another cave over to the east. We'll just go over there. But then an earthquake happens, and then you fall down the hole. And then
Excuse me.
for some reason, he gets up and finds his bearings. She does not, again. And I was so annoyed. And then, I think her name is Nabu.
Nabu.
Nabu. And then Nabu shows up.
Oh,
shit. So it's like an actual choice. Like it actually changes.
yeah.
It's
That's
an actual choice.
Yeah,
which was actually
really
the most
cool.
surprising part of this game for me so far. I was like, wait, there's different like paths you can take here. What's happening? And I had chosen that because I was just like, I don't even like Hans. His mom did a bad job raising him, so like, fuck that bitch. So I was like, let's go get this stone. I have to save the world. But I didn't know that this game it paces you in the story well, but it doesn't pace you in your experience or battle very well.
No.
So I
Not at
get
all.
to fight Nabu. How do I pronounce her name correctly?
Nabu, I believe, is
Nabu is
correct.
fine.
That's how I've always
Nabu.
said it.
And I'll let you go, and then after you finish explaining everything, I'll let you comment on what she says. But really, I could not beat her at level 12. In fact, I had like 20 different life waters. I had so much stuff. I was maximizing every turn to attack her once while I was healing every other turn, and I still died. It was like a 40-minute fight.
Oh my god.
She
Wow.
ran out of EP.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
how that is how long that fight was, and I still died, and then I did it the other way, and then
Yeah.
here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah. I did so.
Same thing happened to me actually. I tried it your way, so I don't know what happens if you pick the don't go give her the moss and then win the battle, because
It's annoying.
Well, because I played that battle over and over, but then what happened was later I was trying the battle, and at this point I'm really bored, so I'm just like reading Twitter while I'm mashing A. But if you mash A during that cutscene, that means that you choose to go give the mom the moss.
Mm-hmm.
So on the time when I finally actually beat it, I did the go back to give the mom the moss route because I accidentally mashed yes for that choice. So sadly, I see the route Rizzo took up until the boss fight, but do not know the route afterward. And you said that's happened to you too, right? That's what you were just saying.
Yeah.
Because you tried the other way. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Presumably, you go back and give it to her afterward, right? I'd imagine.
I guess
I just mean like bye.
yeah, I have never done that. Like I've always played it like in character for Sailor Mercury and said, yeah, let's go give the moss back first because
me too.
she's all about that Hippocratic oath.
I did that right after I died because I couldn't do anything else with it.
Yeah.
So
well, and the fact that you face Nabu right away tells me you're probably not supposed to do that. That's probably the wrong choice because you wouldn't have ground up enough levels to get yourself prepared to fight her.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have ground up enough levels either way if you're not sitting and grinding.
True, but you're
the dungeon you have to go through the long way isn't that long.
Yeah.
True. But you're still in a bit of a better position.
Yeah.
Oh, it should also be noted, in that cave where Dr. Schwartz was are a couple of chests with special accessories specifically for Mercury.
Good too.
They're so good.
Everybody gets 2 in this entire thing, but my Jupiter only has 1 because... So, this game, I realized in Chapter 1 mostly, but had confirmed it by the end of Mars's section of this chapter, that it doesn't want you to explore. You can't interact with items. There's no, like, extra plot stuff to do. It kind of wants you to just go. And I'm like, okay, I got that. So I just went on Jupiter, but you have to explore to find her second.
There is exploration.
Thing.
So
just for Jupiters, and I'm just like, dang it! Like I thought I had you figured out, and now I have a missable. Because like I was at the end, and I'm like, well, I only got 1. Like whose house is it in, or whatever? And I looked it up, and it's like, oh no, it's in the ground that collapsed, and you can miss it. And I'm like,
yeah,
oh, thanks.
Wait, like you can click on a environmental thing and get something?
No,
it's in a chest.
It's a chest.
But
okay, yeah, I got that chest.
You can click on there are jars and like buckets of water that do have things in them. I was spam clicking those through all of Mercury's and Mars's and found nothing, and like eventually gave up at partway through Mars. Because Ken was like, no, it doesn't seem like this game has that. Well, I got to Jupiter's and eventually like I clicked on a jar that happened to have a puzzle piece in it, and I was like, I fucking told you. I knew there was shit in jars. I remember
that's
doing
me,
it.
But I gave up too quickly. Usually I'm the one who's obsessive about that.
Yeah. And I think it was that game that taught me that you could find stuff in other stuff. So that when I got to Final Fantasy VI, I was just like spamming all of the things, like find the stuff. It may have been the other way around, but I can't quite remember.
On just like for like the game design-ness of it, like if they wanted me to know that this game was a game that did that, they should give me, when you talk to a pot, it's just like, oh, it's a simple brown pot or something. Like,
when you give me, or even say
feedback.
There's nothing in it.
Yeah. Like, give me some feedback that this can possibly happen in the future, because, like, it's only because I've played RPGs for forever that I even clicked it in the first place.
Yeah.
So there's no way that for Baby's first RPG, A, they would be clicking it, B, they would continue to click it after everything in Chapter 1 and Mercury didn't have anything in it.
Actually, Sam, that's an interesting point, because I'm thinking about why I didn't click everything, and it's like in Dragon Quest VII, there are bags that are on people's walls that hold things, and in that game, you can click on a bag and it has nothing in it. I literally think maybe in the entire game, there's never anything in the bag. Literally 120-hour game where there's never anything in it. Or maybe at one point in the entire game there is. It's a hilarious joke, and it wastes your time. But because you get a dialogue box saying you searched the bag and didn't find anything, I clicked on every single one. Because it was a game element I was interacting with. But by not giving you a dialogue box in this game, I wasn't even being told it was a game element at all. So therefore, I did not bother interacting with it, because I was like, oh, well, this is not part of the game. I'm not going to waste my time. Whereas in Dragon Quest, I was like, yeah, I'll waste my time.
Because one of these will be the ultimate sword. Like, it's got to be one of these.
They're both essentially the same joke, but they're just done slightly different from a player feedback UI UX standpoint.
Yeah. So back to Mercury.
Yeah. Almost done.
Yeah, we go back through the caves. If we chose to give the Helios to Hans's mom first. We get back to Hans's house. Schwartz makes a medicine out of it, and Hans's mom gets better. Mercury tries.
That was easy.
Yeah, Mercury tries to bail before they can catch up to her, but Hans goes after her and is like, you should come back sometime. And she's like, no, I can't. I mustn't. So
another thing was sweet, actually.
yeah. So then she leaves and heads back to the caves to find the Lightstone. Obviously, we have to go up to the cave north of where we were, so we have to go around another winding path through kind of a mazy area. And we go through this cave with stupidly high encounter rates, but not high enough to get you to a point where you can fight Nabu.
No, not at all.
And then you find a save point.
This is the one that you fight Nabu twice, right? You like wipe the floor with her, and then she gets mad, and then you have to fight her again.
Yeah, phase one's so easy.
Yeah. You.
Well, I found out that you always, I think you were always gonna fight her twice, no matter which.
Either path
you took. Yeah.
So yeah, we fight her, we kick her ass, and then she tells us her sad backstory about when she was a disaffected teen, in goth makeup. All brooding and shit, and you can see Ishtar following her through the cutscene, but Ishtar says nothing through the whole thing. She has like question marks pop over her head every now and then, I think.
So I love when we get to Venus's chapter, the reveal for this Ishtar scene.
Yeah, it's fucking great. It's fucking great. We will get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
So Apsu talks to Nabu and is like, you should come be my minion. And Nabu's like, okay. And then she gets beamed up by a dark energy beam.
One thing I took screenshots of is the specifics that Nabu was talking about to like get us kind of like the motive behind why the Opposito soldiers are doing their thing.
Oh yeah.
So Nabu is like the Ginzu is like super powerful, but like it can't possibly like protect us. Like scientists don't even understand it. Why are we just blindly following it? And then Apsu is like, oh, you're questioning the validity of the Ginzuisho. Such a power could never last for eternity. I'm gathering people like you. Come with me. And I thought that was much better than just Destiny has been patched.
Yeah. It's a big.
We need more flex workers for its crunch right now.
Yeah, it's a big theme throughout all of Sailor Moon. That people believe the Ginzuisho is the source of all the problems. The issue is that the Ginzuisho is such a powerful crystal that it attracts bad guys. Like it attracts people who want that power for themselves. It's not Usagi or the Ginzuisho's fault that it exists. The Ginzuisho is Usagi's sailor crystal. It's basically her life force manifested into a crystal.
So basically the Ginzuisho is like, it's like when people say that leftism is why we have Nazis.
Yes.
The Nazis were already there, you dipshit.
It's basically that. That's a really good metaphor for it. I hadn't thought of that.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. I love it.
But then we died in Nabu repeatedly.
We died in Nabu a whole bunch because holy shit, she gets strong the second time you fight her. And
I was so overpowered. It was like one turn and she was gone on the first phase, and I was just like,
gosh. Oh yeah,
here we go. Everything is great. And then the second turn, I did 7 damage.
Yeah.
And she just is like, oh, hey, now you're poisoned, and because you haven't interacted with any status effects yet, you don't have any items to take care of this. So watch your health just whittle away, and you'll die.
I was prepared in every single way, and I thought that I had the status items, I had all that. She was hurting me, but not a ton, hurting me like 20 or so, and I had like 300 health or whatever. And I just figured, you know what? If I'm doing only like 1 damage with physical attacks and like 8 with my specials, maybe it's one of those bosses where she just has a really low amount of health to make up for the absurdly high defense. So my battle just went on for like a straight up hour, or maybe like half an hour, I don't know, but it was really long. And eventually, she did exhaust all of my items. And then I looked it up online for tips, and it's like, no, she has regular amount of HP. If you're doing single digit damage, then you need to level up, and that's it.
Yeah.
It was funny. All my other stats were fine. I was handling her hits. I just she just had so much damn defense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I had to level up like twice and switch all my accessories.
I had to.
If I had it, go ahead.
I was gonna say I had to grind up to level 16 in order to get past her at that point.
16 might have been mine. Either 15 or 16 for sure.
Yeah, 16 is basically where I put everybody before the boss because of how hard it was for the first two. I was like, okay, 16 is the magic number of this chapter.
You know, Mercury's a good magic user, and I really had just used the single bubble spray to do a lot of the damage, and she only has like 200 and something health.
Mhm.
So I was like, wow, I just need to cast this ability 20 times, but I didn't have enough money for ice shards. Oh, and then also fuck that poison.
Yeah.
Because
It's
that was
way nastier than the actual attack. It's like 20 or 30 health per turn.
It has
Nasty.
it has a really high chance to miss, but
Yeah.
when it hits, it's brutal.
You gotta
it's bad.
get rid of it immediately.
Yeah.
Next
Yeah,
turn.
it's like an eighth of your HP or something because it scales and it's gross.
Yeah, I was literally like juggling, restoring it through, like those, I guess, antidotes or whatever it was called. That like,
Bath
I used
medicine.
Bath medicine.
Yeah.
I used. Oh yeah, it was
salts.
between bath medicines and then just juggling, recovering the HP through items. That's exactly what I did. It was the worst thing in the world.
Oof.
Yeah.
It sounds like you had the toughest battle but managed to beat it, whereas the rest of us just grinded a bunch.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Good job, Rizzo.
Yeah, no, that's
Proud of
exactly
you.
what I did. I was just like, oh, don't worry, I have this done. I have like, there's a pattern. I just have to wait till I get to 17 health and then just use another item to get back to full and then just do it all over again for like 40 minutes and then
Yep, nice.
fucking cry. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So
But on the like the meta like teaching us how to play this game thing, this chapter did really good because by the time I got to Jupiter's, it took me 35 minutes to get through Jupiter's chapter.
yeah.
Right,
Well,
right.
even just Mars was a cakewalk for me. Yeah, like after this one, I'm like, okay, I know how to play this game now.
Yeah, it helps that Jupiter is a real powerhouse.
Yeah.
But so we finally all beat Nabu. It took us a while, but we did it. And she's just like, oh god, I'm tired. So I guess it's not a big deal if I let you have this stone because finding all of them is going to be real hard. So I'll just let you go this time.
Yeah. And she was like anti-Mars, whatever her name is. Like
Nergal.
she's super strong. Nergal. She's super strong, so she'll stop you. I don't have to do my job because it's her problem now.
Which is another huge 90s trope.
Yeah. You might beat me, but there's no way you'll beat the other 4 warriors of darkness. It's like, bitch.
So we
Don't you know
it's
I have
that's
plot armor?
own. It's like, way to admit that you're the worst one.
Oh no, the worst one is yet to come.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
wait.
I actually suck.
So we get a little cutscene where Mercury goes back to Kindness Village and stands in front of Hans's house and is like, I'll come back someday. I just have to go back to Japan. I can't let them down. I have to help Mamoru-san. And then she leaves. And then Luna shows up in the middle of fucking Switzerland. And is like, oh, well, Ami-chan's mission is done. Do you want to save? So that was very convenient that she showed up there, I guess.
I love her looking directly at you, being like, yeah, we're done here.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So then we head on to visit with Sailor Mars, who is in Nepal.
I thought that because I knew that the number of bosses was the same as chapter 1, but chapter 1 was all bosses and this one is all trash mobs. So this one was about like 2.5 times longer than chapter
It was
1.
a freaking lot.
But so Mars, hadn't realized that at this point yet. So Mars goes up and sees her crystal at the very beginning of her thing, and she's just like, "Can I just take this? Like, are we done? Is this it?" And I was like,
I was
"Okay,
thinking,
cool.
like,
The
ooh,
rest
this
of them
one's
will be short."
Nice.
But
no.
Yeah, that crystal at the beginning of Mars is unfortunately not the crystal that she
Yeah,
needs.
it's some other random ruby.
It's called a Gematis ruby. I don't know what Gematis is supposed to mean, but there you go. That's what it's called.
It is.
So she's in a city called Lhasa in Nepal. She goes into this temple, and she's like, "Oh, I sense an evil aura," and she sees this ruby, and she's like, something weird's happening around here. And then monks show up, and they're like, "Hey, you're not allowed in here. You're a girl." And she's like, "Excuse you." And then she kicks their ass, and it turns out they were Yoma, which is good because that would be bad if Mars was kicking the ass of a bunch of monks.
Yeah.
And then
I'm pretty certain her like priestess card would get taken away.
Yeah,
Like, look, you can't just attack other members of the cloth. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, exactly. So more of the monks show up, and suddenly she can't move. Well, she can do the twist.
Yeah.
She spins around a few times, but is like, I can't move. And then some dude who she thinks looks like Jadeite, but looks nothing like Jadeite shows up.
Yeah,
No,
I didn't
this
get
is
that.
this is dollar store Aladdin.
Yeah, it's discount Aladdin. That's very true. So he shows up and saves her. She passes out, and then we get the common theme of girl passes out and ends up in some dude's house. And
it's very weird. It's like I was like, didn't this just
totally normal?
This is weird.
Yeah,
It was very,
we see Destiny repeating itself, or time repeating itself yet again. And
Destiny
so
repeats itself, all right.
yeah. So he's like, okay, well, you rest up. His name is Fareg, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And so Mars is like, okay, well, I'm leaving. And so you go.
And then the most egregious of but you're a girl, you can't do anything happens. Farag is just like, no, like, you're a girl, you're a little weakling, you can't do anything at all, so just stay here and I'll go and do my shit.
Yeah,
and Mars
yeah.
is like, well, no, and follows him.
Yeah, yeah.
And then that continues when you get to the elder's house.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Everybody, like, she goes over to the elder's house. Like, the first thing, Farag comes in after Mars goes into the elder's house, and Farag says, "Indeed, why were you, a girl, all alone in that place?" Just like, you misogynistic asshole. And if this
Also,
was...
way to victim blame.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
If this was Manga Mars, she would have kicked his ass, because
Yeah.
Manga Mars, if you don't know, fucking hates men. She has a serious issue with men because her dad bailed when her mom was dying. Yeah. It was really bad. Like, he's some rich businessman, and he was just like, whatever, I don't care, she, whatever, it doesn't matter. And he, like, for her birthday, he'll send her flowers, and, like, they have dinner together once a year on her birthday, and that's it. Like, that's what she sees of her dad. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But she's anime Mars, and she's just like, but I'm better than you. And so they get into a tiff, and she's basically like, well, I can't tell you why I needed to be over there, but I was over there. And so oh shoot, sorry.
So, on my screenshots, I missed the first part of this conversation, so I don't remember who it is. But oh no, she's talking about Mamoru. So she does say, she's like, I have a friend who's sick, and for him to recover, a special stone called a jadeite is needed.
That's right. Yeah. So
it's
she tells him about the jadeite, and they're like, oh well, it's probably in this temple called Takar Coop, which is over in Lhasa. And she's like, but I was just there. God damn it. And so she tries to leave, but Farag keeps getting in her way.
Yeah.
She's like, what the fuck, dude? Let me through. And
she should have set his ass on fire.
Yeah, she really should have. He's like, no, you're a girl.
Now, Farag's not quite as shitty as everybody else. He specifically says girls are not allowed in the place. So it's not like you're weak and can't kick their ass.
True.
I mean, that is part of it. But it's like, he probably couldn't kick their ass either, but he's allowed to be there.
Yeah, still not cool. But she's
still not great. But
yeah, she
still sexism.
Yeah.
But not his sexism. It's the sexism of the temple, at least.
Yeah.
It's like, he's like, duh, it's the rules. You can't break the rules. And she's like, I could just break the rules. And he's like, oh, good point.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll come with you then if we're breaking all the rules. So he merges with us, and then we head out. We make sure to equip accessories, because if we don't, Mars will get absolutely fucking rocked.
Literally one-shotted by the first random encounter.
Yeah. We lost the footage of our first Let's Play attempt, in which I had gotten absolutely fucking rocked, and I'm glad we did because it was really embarrassing. I was just like, well then, I guess I have to replay this entire beginning cutscene again because I didn't save.
Speaking of, so we're headed off to the temple right now, but it reminds me because this is the temple we were just in at the beginning.
Yes.
And the puzzle, quote unquote, giant air quotes, like wearing giant foam fingers to do these air quotes puzzle, is one of the statues of the monks is different than the others, and so that's the elder. He was hidden there or whatever. Except it's really, really, really obvious.
Yeah.
And I thought that that's what I was supposed to be interacting with when I was in there the first time, and I pushed and tapped and clicked and looked at everything around this super obvious future puzzle when we were first in there.
Yeah.
I also noticed that it was like, that's a thing I should click on.
Yeah. So now we do get to click on it.
Yeah.
All right.
But
Finally.
it's funny because, but even that's weird though, because I'm like, earlier nothing happened, so I figured it didn't matter, and then but it's weird that when you click on the evil phantom ruby or whatever, there's not any line of dialogue. It's like, wait, but this is what you're here for, right?
Yeah.
But there's not a line of dialogue saying nothing happened. Let's find if there's a random guy here or anything like that. It's very strange.
Yeah. So, you approach the monk statue, and he's like, "Oil can." He actually explained.
Very accurate.
He says basically that the Gemitus ruby is fucking him up, and somehow Fareg is like, "Hey, this dude's not dead. He's turned to stone, but he's not dead." How he knew that, I don't know.
It's his ghostly power. Spoilers.
Yeah.
God's not dead too. Too God, too dead.
Mars is like, oh, that's where that evil aura was coming from, and then the Daisojo, which is what he's called, the high priest, basically. He comes to life as like some horrible multi-armed, multi-headed monster, and we fight him and we kick his ass. And then Nurgle shows up, and Nurgle's like, ha 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 ha, I did that. And Mars, the line she uses, which probably could have been translated better, is, "Why do you do all these mean things?"
Yeah, I loved it. Oh my gosh,
it's so great.
Especially because of this is Mars, you know, like that's something maybe Mercury would say.
Yeah.
Mars would be like, "Fuck you, I'm gonna kick your ass."
Yeah.
Like,
So,
why are you such a bitch?
Nurgle's response is, "Cuz," and then she kicks Fareg in the groin.
It's
And,
good stuff.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, and so he goes down because, holy crap, groin punch. And then Mars's crows, Phobos and Deimos, show up. How they got to Japan,
Apparently she has crows.
Yeah. Well, you know about them if you watch the anime or read the manga.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So what happened is Luna used her teleportation saving powers and was like, "Here, this only works on other animals, so you can come with me to Nepal."
Yeah, there you go. But Ken and I
would.
Oh, go ahead.
Wait, oh yeah, that's right. The crows weren't with her the whole time.
No.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe the crows just like lifted her in the air.
That is what Ken and I were joking about. Like, maybe they flew her there.
Yeah, I was hoping that maybe that would have happened. And she was just like, they were just like grabbing her top, and they were just like, "Let's go," just flying in the air with it. Just two crows.
They're magical guardian crows, so it would make sense. Nurgle's like, "You fuckers are coming with me," and she takes Fareg and Phobos and Deimos and disappears. And Mars is like, "Oh God, what'll I do? I'm all alone again." But then the Daisojo is no longer stoned. He comes out of his very terrible trip, and she's like, "Oh, hey, you're back." And he asks if she was the one who released him, and he's like, "I'll do whatever you want since you helped me out." Nurgle has taken Fareg and the crows to some place called Krita Yuga,
Oh, right.
which is like
If you talk to the NPCs in the other village, they mention it as like a ancient ruin underground.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so it's north of Yaga Village, and the priest is like, but Yaga Village is like ruins at this point, because Mars is like, I have to go back. He's like, it's all ruins, and she's like, what? I was just there. Like, that was where we had been taken when Farag found us.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, what the fuck? That doesn't make any sense. So we head back to Yaga Village,
And sure enough, it's destroyed.
yeah, it's like it's been
abandoned for centuries. And stuff.
50 years, I think, is what they said.
Yeah.
Was how long it had been. And so we go to the elder's house, and the elder's there, straight up a ghost. And he's like, yeah, we're all dead. We've been dead the whole time.
Turns out we were ghosts.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have ghost seeing powers, and you know this, but, whatever.
Yeah.
So
And the elder also is like, yeah, we also used our ghostly powers to make this look different since you were a human. So like maybe if she was using her ghost using powers, like she didn't have to. Like maybe the ghosts could like influence it. Oh, I just this is completely unrelated to what's going on right now. I just remembered it and wanted to talk about it back in Mercury. But my absolute favorite OG Sailor Moon villain is the trash mobs in Mercury's place. They're it's this lady that has snowmen for titties.
Yes!
And it's amazing. And I was like mad that she wasn't like a chapter boss type thing.
Oh yeah. Those
sorry.
things are great.
Sorry, I just remembered that I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, those ones are from the episode where they all went skiing for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And
as you do.
Yeah, and apparently Mars was really good at skiing, which doesn't make any sense, but whatever.
Yeah.
And she gets trapped on a mountain with Yuichiro. That was what happened.
Nice.
So anyway,
back to reality.
I like how here he's like, we're all ghosts, and she's like, is Farag also a ghost? And he's like, kinda, not the same though. It's a little different.
Yeah, it's
She's
a little
like,
different.
okay.
He's like a super ghost.
Yeah, it's just like obviously the guy that the man in her story that obviously she has to have some kind of contrived sort of Tinder moment with can't just be a straight up ghost. So he's got to be some sort of not really ghost.
Yeah. And the elder is also standing directly in between two chests, which happen to contain both of Mars's accessories, which is great. We don't have to go searching for them. Yep.
Yeah.
No effort. It's great.
Yep.
So,
unlike Jupiter's.
Yeah.
Like this is what I was ready for because I saw these and I'm like, okay, they'll just give them to you. Both of them were in the same room for Mercury, both of them in the same room for Mars. Let's go Jupiter. Both of them are out of the way and you have to look for
Wrong.
them.
Yep.
Wrong. Incorrect.
Playing with your expectations.
The video game.
Yeah, that's game design in the 90s.
Yeah.
Taking your expectations and literally shitting on them.
Yep.
That's what that is.
So we leave the elder's house and we head up to Krita Yuga, where we head inside.
We find one of our birdies.
Yeah, I believe it's Phobos is there.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going through the Krita Yuga temple. Thankfully, we have our bird friend who's keeping us safe. And I did a whole bunch of grinding here. I think I got Mars up to level 15 just to be safe because I was like, I can't remember how strong Nurgle is. So you basically go up like a bunch of winding paths. Well, not winding paths. You just go up a bunch of stairs through like a big temple.
Before we get to the stairs, we actually find a bronze statue of Jadeite, which looks literally not even a same pixel like Farag.
Like Farag, yeah, it looks not at all the same. And I'm just like, what are you smoking that you're seeing the same guy? Like, it didn't make any sense. I was like, well, maybe it's just because the sprites are weird. I don't know.
This tower did a lot of things I loved visually. First of all, I always love it when a building is really huge that it stretches off the screen with this sort of graphic style.
Yeah.
Because you can actually go up to the top. You can go around the tower before you go in it and see that it just goes off screen. And also, when you're climbing up the tower, each floor you can go down on the screen, like go like to the south, and there's these little windows, and it does a screen transition, and then you're now back outside, but you can't move or anything, but you can you're in the window and you can look, and that was just great. Really great little place enhancement details.
Yeah,
really good stuff. I love all that kind of stuff. And this game doesn't have a whole lot of frills like that, so it was nice to see it.
Yeah, it's really great for screenshots. So, it just looks really nice. It gives you a good sense of the atmosphere. You can also see on the outside of the temple, there's a bunch of jade stones inlaid. Which is really cool.
Oh, I noticed that, but didn't think about it.
Yeah.
So finally you get to the top of the tower and Nurgle's there waiting for you. And she's like, all right, bitch, we're fighting. And Mars is like, okay, I need that jadeite because Nurgle has apparently gotten it before us. She's like, so Nurgle agrees to give the jadeite to whoever wins for whatever reason. Like Mars is like, okay, I guess she's going to be honorable about this, which I didn't believe, but whatever.
Yeah,
it's funny how these people never fight to the death.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
You think she'd be like, "I'll kill you," and then I don't have to give you the gem.
Yeah,
yeah.
Whoever dies loses.
Yeah, Nurgle's like... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just about to be like, so we fight her and we barely win because even at 16, she still hit like a truck.
Oh, yeah.
I fucking one-shotted her ass.
Really?
Really?
I was doing 66 damage with Mars' strongest attack.
I did like 400. The thing is, I was grinding in... actually, I forgot to mention this earlier. This section does an annoying-ass thing. That cave you have to go to in the second half of the game to get up here to find the secret passage, you can go there right from the beginning. And I'm a dummy and for some reason only noticed the northern passage and didn't notice the western passage. So I was just going around in a circle, like where the hell do I go? But also...
Yeah, because
but also
it
I
loops
was very...
until you find the hole.
But also, I was pretty sleepy, so I was grinding. Had the music muted because I was watching a really long YouTube video of a guy giving a lecture. So I was just having a good time. So I probably just lost track of time and got hella overpowered. So anyway, I kicked your ass. It was great. That's my tip, by the way. Instead of trying over and over, just find something else to do and grind a shit ton. And then you'll be like, wow, that was easy.
Yeah, there you go.
You can just twirl your thumbstick and hold down A, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. So we fought Nurgle, and then we see Nurgle's tragic backstory.
I like this one.
Yeah. So she hears Apsu calling to her. And she's like, what the hell do you want? And apparently
she also refers to herself as the shaman Apsu.
The shaman Apsu, yeah. And Apsu,
she looks like Enchantress from Suicide Squad.
Oh, I wouldn't know.
And she acts in this scene like Apocalypse from X-Men Apocalypse. That's basically her whole bit.
Pretty much, yeah.
I'll make you strong.
But yeah, she's like, I heard the voice in your heart saying that you wanted to be stronger than the Sailor Guardians. And Nurgle's like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. And so Apsu is like, I can give you so much power. And Nurgle starts floating and glowing. And she's just like, are you serious? You can? And Apsu's like, yes, I can give you all the power. And Nurgle's like, you can give me all the power? And it's that back and forth for a while.
And then more like backstory-ish stuff. And she's, it makes me think that Apsu is up to no good. And she's like, now you can go prove how powerful you are by going and fighting the Sailor Scouts because I don't have ulterior motives. Just go and fight them because.
And Urgel's like, okay, cool, I'll do it.
It's so funny how
we
power
kill
is like
her.
in and of itself here. It's like she doesn't want to do anything. She just wants to be the most powerful. And if that means she has to turn evil, she's like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Nurgle leaves, and she says the most 90s thing ever, which is, later.
It's great. It's good stuff.
Really?
Yeah, she's like, all right, well, I'm out of here. Later.
She also does this thing that like they gave her a special sprite for, which I thought was awesome, where she like jumps back and points at Mars and is like, Sailor Mars, you're my trophy. Don't ever forget it.
Yes.
I'll throw this screenshot in the Discord, so you can, if you aren't familiar, you can see the.
Also in this section, Sailor Mars has a unique, like, yay! Sort of sprite that shows up a few times that Mercury didn't have that, and it's real cute.
Yeah.
Although she uses it inappropriately one time.
Yeah. At one
At a time
point.
when, like, yay was not what I would have expected.
Yeah. So Nurgle disappears. We head forward, and there's Demos. And then we find Farag, who's like lying on top of a pedestal.
And then suddenly Mars turns into Sundari Shark because she's just like, idiot, I was worried about you. And I'm just like, baka.
Yeah. She's very tsundere in the original anime. She's just kind of like cold toward other people a lot of the times in the manga, which I much prefer. Like I was saying in the first episode, like they're in the anime, their personalities got ramped up to 11.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it
not in a good way. But yeah, so we help Farag and he explains that the people of Yaga village were protecting Takarakoop, and everybody had worshipped Jadeite as a god.
But before he goes into that, he says, and I quote, this is the exact lines from him, which I thought was great. He goes, "Forgive me, Mars. As a matter of fact, my body isn't real. My soul is the only thing that's left."
What a good way to segue into that topic.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, my body isn't real.
I'm glad
Actually,
you asked.
I'm just gonna put that out there for you.
Before this progresses any further, I want to make sure we understand something.
Yeah, I am dead. I am super
Manage your
dead.
expectations.
Yeah. And he explains that he made himself look like Jadeite because he knew that she would recognize him, and I'm just like, you look nothing like
But
Jadeite.
You didn't. I don't get it. It's so weird.
Not any part of you looks remotely like Jadeite.
Maybe it was more of a commentary on her.
Looks like Jadeite.
Yeah.
Like I understand stand that like with sprites everything is abstract. So what they should have done, and they have not done for anybody except for the scouts and the Opposito soldiers, is give him a talking head. If he would have had Jadeite's talking head with a different hairstyle and hat on, I would understand it. But this being a plot point and all you get is the sprite that looks nothing alike,
Yeah.
it's
It's
ridiculous.
And they-
identical sprite. It'd be confusing, but whatever. The characters are confused. So
Yeah. I mean, or like give him Jadeite's head on that body or whatever. Yeah, and I mean they had talking
just
heads
really
for the
weird.
generals as well, so they definitely could have used Jadeite's and like changed the hair color.
Like, I know game dad's expensive and you have to have a budget, but like one more talking head for this
just
important
one.
plot point. Come on.
You can do it, guys. I believe in you.
They could have done it.
So, but yeah, he's like, all right, well, I've got to go. He literally says, "I'm disappearing," and Mars.
Thanks, Kasala.
And then Mars says the absolute most tsundere thing so far. She goes, "Idiot, my tears won't stop falling. Why did you make me hate you so much?"
Yeah.
I really like Sailor Mars.
Yeah.
I want to take these screenshots, but replace her sprite with a sprite of a shark.
Yes, you should. So
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Usagi calls her up, asks if she got Jadeite stone, and she's like, "Yep, coming back to Japan." And then Luna shows up, like right outside the temple.
Deep, 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 deep. That's all, folks.
Yeah, exactly. Before we leave, Mars takes one more look at Jadeite's statue and says, "Farewell, Fareg," and I'm just like, they're not anything alike. So anyway,
Not at all.
so then we move on.
We go to Canada.
Yeah, we go to Canada where Sailor Jupiter is in the middle of fucking nowhere. She's just in the woods because that's where the Sailor GPS put her.
And she's just like, she doesn't even seem like bothered by it because she's Sporty Spice, and for those who are unfamiliar. But so she's just like, oh yay, the woods. Let me catch me some fish and find out what I'm going to eat for dinner. Just like,
actually, this was my. I want to say this. This was my favorite part.
Yeah,
because she is so relatable. Like, you get to this new place. Is it Germany? Is it the Netherlands? I don't know. But you know what I'd be focused on? Fucking eating.
Yeah.
And that is, she had her priorities in place. That's the first thing that I thought of when I saw this.
This is also my favorite chapter, except for the boy in this chapter is by far my least favorite of the boys.
Yeah.
I think he was
George,
just annoying and cloying and dumb, but everything about the plot and the characters and the music and the graphics was so nice.
Yeah.
So you know how in Rogue Galaxy we were talking about how Xenosaga has, and Rogue Galaxy both have the girl that has to be there, but they get through it in a cool way. This is almost reverse. They end up in a like platonic relationship because Jupiter hates herself when it comes to guys, and she thinks she's not good enough. And so it's like, oh, she's going to work on getting these guys back together. But like at the beginning, she's just like, oh, he's really cute. Oh wait, no, he has some body. Well, she's better than me anyway, so let me go and just disappear into the background.
This is
just like, is not how Mars would have handled that situation.
Yeah, no, Mars would have been like, I'm going to steal this man.
I'm on my way to steal your man.
But yeah, so
like, I ended up liking it because it wasn't a romance plot, but it got to that place by making Jupiter hate herself, and I'm like, just why could it have been how it was in like Rogue Galaxy? Is like Jaster's like, oh hey, I love you, Kasala, and she's just like, nah, sorry, no, and then it just moves on from there.
That's
I actually love that about Rogue Galaxy. I love that. He was just like, hey, I like you. She's like, that's it. Like,
sorry, I'm queen.
That's where the plot point ends and begins. And she's just like, great, thanks for letting me know. Bye. That's really cool.
All I care about is being a pirate. Sorry.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But anywho, back to this game.
Yeah, Sailor Jupiter actually mentions, she sees a sign that calls it a national park, and she's like, is this really a national park? I'm like, well, the sign says so I guess. And then, so she gets her fish, and there's like a little like fast forward thing where the screen goes dark, which was really neat. We haven't seen something like that yet.
Yeah.
And then we see her in front of a campfire with a little tent set up. I didn't know she brought herself a tent, but here we are.
She probably made it. She's Sporty Spice.
That's true. Yeah, she made it out of sticks and leaves because she's very resilient and Well, so a little bit of backstory about Makoto. Her parents died in a car crash when she was 6. She's been living by herself this whole time. She was not sent to an orphanage. She lives by
weird.
herself in an apartment. It's probably like similar to Haruka and Michiru, where she has like a patron or something. Because she lives in a nice apartment in Tokyo. And she's learned to cook and clean and take care of herself, and like she's like, that's just a big part of who she is knowing how to fend for herself because she's had to for so long. And so
and this is not totally related, but I just realized we probably won't ever go to school for the rest of this after our little bit in chapter 1. But she's so tall, she wears the high school uniform when she's still in middle school.
Oh, it's actually from a totally different school. It's from the school that she came to, or the school that she went to before she came to Juba Middle School. She was kicked out of. Yeah,
in Crystal, it said that it was the high school one, which is the only one that I've watched that part of the show.
Really? Because the high school uniform is totally different from that when
Yeah,
they finally
but
get to high school.
That's what she had said.
That's-
Mars was
okay.
from a different school, and that's why hers is different. But weird.
Well,
Anywho,
yeah,
she has a different one because she's too big for middle school.
yeah,
uniforms.
she had been kicked out of her old school because some kids accused her of starting fights, even though she totally never did. Because
she's a sweetheart.
She's super sweet and gentle. So like everybody is afraid of her at Juban. But anyway, someone like comes out of the woods like fucking Sasquatch, and he's like, "Oh hey, I smelled your fish cooking. Can I have that?" And Jupiter's like,
So you're saying it was me? So I smelled food and I was like, "Hey, I want that.
Yeah.
Let me eat that." Thanks.
Rizzo
Thanks.
comes out of the woods.
Yeah, it's just like, food. Thanks.
Yeah. He's got green hair. He's the only guy we've seen so far who has strange colored hair, and I think it's like he's from the Americas, so clearly he's going to have weird colored hair because Americans are weird.
We are.
It's true. She's just like, this is a national park, and you just like came out of the woods, but okay. So they eat, and he's like, wow, this is really good. Let's go back to my village. And she's like, there's a village in a fucking national park? Okay.
And he goes, it's secret. You can't tell nobody.
Yeah. It's a secret to everybody, as they say. That's a sick Zelda reference for any of you who didn't get that.
Yeah. He also mentions that is it Nephrite for this one?
Yes.
Yeah, mentions that the Nephrite stone is in his village, and she's like, okay, well then, like, I'm coming.
Yeah.
And
He's like, oh, easy. All right, cool, let's go. Do it.
Yeah, so you go to the village, and even when you talk to some of the NPCs, they're like, oh yeah, I've heard of the Nephrite stone. You're just like, wow, okay, cool. And there's also a big tree, like, in the center of the village that has a hole in it. It's like, it's basically a great Deku tree.
And there's some NPCs that are like, oh, the Nephrite stone is at the top of the tree, but it's scary, and we're not going to let you go in it until you get through some plot.
Yeah, exactly.
And since the plot didn't explicitly tell me to go there, I was like, no fucking way am I going there, because there's probably really hard enemies, so I'm going to go to the other dungeon and avoid that tree as long as possible.
So the first thing we do is we learn our lesson from Mercury and Mars, and we immediately equip some accessories on Jupiter.
Yep.
Yep, absolutely.
And then
all defense too.
So we go to the big house, which belongs to the mayor of this village, and I can't remember what this. Oh, this is Medeus village.
Mm-hmm.
And an NPC talks to us about how George has a girlfriend, but the mayor, who is George's dad, disapproves because this girl is from Mishi village, and Mishi and Medeus have been fighting with each other for years.
Romeo and also Juliet.
Yeah. So
I appreciate how our girl was unaware that there was, with all her magical powers, was unaware that there was not only one village, but actually two villages in her near vicinity.
Yeah.
It's like, you missed two entire villages.
So we head upstairs to find George and talk to him about his girlfriend Mary, who's from Mishi. And Jupiter's like, I'll help you get back together because love is important. I believe in love. And so she goes and talks to the mayor, and the mayor's like, no. And Jupiter's like, well, fuck you. I don't care what you think. I'm going to go over to the other village, and I'm going to find Mary.
Yeah, she's just like, okay, I'm going to go over there now. Bye.
Yeah.
So this game, before we leave this village, this game doesn't do very much in the way of like NPC dialogues telling the story, but in this one they did. Jupiter just bucked all the trends of this game, really.
Yeah.
But if you talk to all of the Chidoris that are around around the village, they won't talk to you until you find the one that tells you about George and Mary, because they think that you're from the other village, and they hate all that.
Yeah,
which I thought was cool.
So you find that NPC, and Jupiter's like, why are all these bitches not talking to me? Like, do I smell?
Yeah.
Oh, I should also note, before we get to the village, there's actually a secret path that you can take where there's an NPC wandering around in like a clearing. It's just like a very small clearing. And he's like, oh, hey, I found this puzzle piece. Here you go.
What? Oh, man.
You can't finish the puzzle without that.
Well, you can just grind to finish the puzzle.
Because you get puzzle pieces randomly.
I think you stop getting puzzle pieces eventually. I think there are some that you have to find because there's some there's some in jars in this chapter too. But
I think
I completed my puzzle, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. I think
the question is if you get a puzzle piece, is it a randomly generated puzzle piece or is it a specific puzzle piece? Because that would be what matters. You know?
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure how it works. You could be right, and you could just have to grind for the whole thing. But, like, as I recall from playing this as a kid, you had to find those puzzle pieces in the jars, and you had to talk to that secret NPC. But anyway, So the woman's like, oh well, everybody thought you were from Medea's village, and they hate Medea's village, and they, they don't like other girls and whatever. So Jupiter explains the situation, and we go and find Mary. Or rather, we find a pendant outside of the mayor's house in Mishi. And someone calls down to us and is like, hey, I dropped that. Can you, like, jump up here with your superhero powers and bring it to me?
I was confused because I didn't know where this was being said from. I was like, are they going to move the camera up?
It's just inside the window that you can see on screen, but you don't see anybody. You just see the window.
Yeah.
It was odd.
16-bit RPGs try a lot of things with sprites, and some of them aren't that good.
Right.
Yeah,
also, they didn't have like a unique animation of her climbing up, so it's just like teleports to the next screen. It's like, I'm here now.
Yeah. So Jupiter jumps up into the window with her superhero powers, and
I was looking through my screenshot. Sorry to interrupt. So the NPC plot hint to tell you to go and talk to the pendant is this little boy that says, recently a lot of stuff has started falling down around the village chief's house.
Wow.
There's someone just tossing shit out the window, apparently. Trying to get people's attention.
I love it.
So we go up into Mary's room, and then we explain, the situation with George, and her dad starts calling out, and Mary's like, "Oh no, what are we gonna do? We're trapped here. I can't leave." And Jupiter's like, "All right, well, I'll just bust down this wall."
Yeah.
And Mary's reaction is accurate, which is she's just like, "What the hell? How are you going to do that?" And Jupiter's just like, "Just watch." And then
I like how the reaction is, "You can't do that because it's too hard." Not you shouldn't do that.
You shouldn't do that because you're going to destroy my house.
Yeah, she's fine with that. She's just concerned about the practicality of it.
Yeah.
And speaking of sprites, like in Sailor Mars's special Yay sprite, Jupiter has brushing her shoulders off sprite, which I thought was amazing.
Yeah.
She's like, it's no big deal.
She's just like, yeah, I can do this. It's whatever. I do this shit all the time.
Yeah.
I break down walls for breakfast.
I'm basically the Kool-Aid man.
Yeah. In the form of an adorable 15-year-old girl. So they break.
I just don't understand how the dad didn't hear this wall being fucking broken.
Yeah.
I am so annoyed with this fucking father. He's just like, she's like talking loud. She's like, "Hey, what's up?" And he's like, "Why are you talking?" He hears a fucking wall break, and he's like, "Let me go check on that outside." I don't get it. I don't see it. I don't understand it.
They're not the brightest here. Canadians are nice, but apparently they're not smart in Sailor Moon's world.
All the men in this game are morons.
Yeah, they are.
All the men in this game are just incapable. I think that's what this game is showing.
I'm imagining that when the dad gets in there and sees the wall short, he's like, "Sorry."
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
So Mary comes with us. We head down through a secret passage. And thankfully there's a chest there containing one of Jupiter's accessories. And then we
The
exit.
only one that I got.
Yeah.
This is where you find like the extra items in those bins and those like pots.
Yeah. You can find a couple of things aside from a puzzle piece. There's like a couple of useful items. And so we head out of there, and oh yeah, there were a couple other chests in a side room that just contained like some useful
like healing waters.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah.
So we head out, and then we're in like secret underground ruins.
Yeah, of course.
Like just secret underground caves that the mayor's house leads to.
There
Apparently,
it is.
there they are.
NBC does mention it, but it doesn't make it any less inexplicable from a physical reality standpoint.
Yeah. So we go through. It's a little bit of a maze. It's mostly just like if you go the wrong way, it takes you around in a circle.
Exactly.
And then, sorry, go ahead.
I was about to say, so when you get to the ruins, there's like a picture on the wall, and she's like, "Who's that?" She's like, "I don't know, but the mark is a symbol of Jupiter, and there's no symbol of Jupiter anywhere on it whatsoever."
One. You can't find it anywhere.
Yeah, it's fun to imagine when things are there. Like it's basically how it goes. The chest, by the way, is off to the far left of that the big ruined building.
Yeah. That's what the game facts told me when it was too late.
Sorry, Sam. Yeah, and I was looking for it since you had mentioned it, but you didn't mention exactly where it was.
Oh yeah.
So we head up to the front of that building, and then the Jupiter equivalent Marduk shows up. And she's like, "Oh, damn it, the Nephrite stone wasn't here." But we start, like, the ground starts rumbling. And Marduk's like, "Yeah, this cave's gonna be destroyed in a sec. Bye!"
Pretty much.
So Jupiter's like, "Oh, we've got to find shelter somewhere." And then we just, like, go up some stairs, and we're in Medea's village.
Yeah.
Or we're
technically you're right there
outside.
at the lake where you started the game. Like, why didn't Jupiter, when she shows up, she's like, "All right, it's somewhere in the vicinity. These stairs to an ancient ruin look really suspicious, but I'm going to get something to eat first."
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I get it though. You got to eat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's got her priorities straight for sure.
Yeah.
You can't eat a gem.
Yeah.
George is conveniently there waiting for us. And he thanks us for reuniting him with Mary. And
then he's like, the Nephrite stone's in the tree. If you could have just asked, I would have told you where it was.
Well, apparently, apparently the Nephrite stone in their custom will make their marriage possible, is what Jupiter says.
There was a NPC in the other village that says that the marriage custom is to give a heirloom from one village to the other as, like, instead of like a engagement ring, you give them like a symbol that's important to the village or whatever. And so that's what she's going to get, is the super powerful plot stone so that they could exchange it for their wedding vows.
Yeah. So he explains that it's in the protection god's tree. Which means it's somehow related to Sailor Jupiter because she's the guardian of protection. And also in the manga, she uses a bunch of flower and plant-based attacks. She has her Jupiter Coconut Cyclone in this, which is a manga-only attack. She also had an attack in the manga and in Crystal called Flower Hurricane. So she's not just lightning, she's also plants. She's basically nature. She is the nature guardian. So Jupiter's like, "Oh, you should come with me, George, and then we can make sure that a certain happy couple will be together." And so Mary's like, "All right, well, I'm gonna go back home." And you take George with you and head up to the protection god's tree. They kiss. It's cute. I mean, George and Mary kiss, not George and Jupiter. And so we head back up to the village and we go to the tree, and
you meet Marduk on the bottom floor, and she's just like
She's
raced
just
to the
wandering around.
Mm-hmm.
top. Yeah,
like a
I love
normal ass
this.
NPC.
Yeah, because like every other time you've run into any of these, it's been a cutscene that takes over the moment you get into the room. This one, like, you could go and explore and just leave Marduk like
Yeah, it's
lost
quite
on the
odd.
first
Yeah.
floor. I loved it.
It was pretty hilarious. And so Jupiter's like, who are you? And Marduk's like, well, as promised, I'll tell you who I am. And then she explains that she traversed space and time to be there.
Mhm. And she says to protect the planet Jupiter, which I thought was weird.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, it's because she's Jupiter's evil counterpart.
yeah, but it's just like, no, you didn't. That's me.
Yeah.
Literally my name.
But she's the Mesopotamian Jupiter, so clearly,
okay.
she was there first. So we get another cutscene to see a backstory. And in this one, they explicitly go into, all the problems are caused by the Ginzuisho existing. And man, it'd be great if the Ginzuisho didn't exist. They're all saying the Ginzuisho is great. It's prevented problems from happening. And then Marduk comes in and she's like, excuse me, the truth is actually that the Ginzuisho caused these problems. Is like, well, if we had that power, then we could take over the world. And people are so stupid, and they think that peace is something that you can actually attain, but it's not. And then Apsu talks to Apsu talks to her, and she convinces Marduk to join her and to procure the Ginzuisho for them, for the Oppositio Senshi. Apsu is like, I knew you would do this. It looks like Marduk is gonna fight Jupiter, but then she just runs off laughing.
Yeah. She runs to takes off running up this conveniently placed stairs to the top of the tree.
She probably knows what level I was.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you better run.
So we have to work our way up the tree, enduring the stupidly high encounter rates. But I mean, I was forcing battles in a few places because I wanted to make sure I was leveled up enough.
Yeah, like when you get to the top, it gives you the opportunity to chase after her or walk down yourself. And so I walked down myself just to get more battles in. I
had already ground up a bunch of levels because it was like I couldn't remember and thought I was going to have to fight her. But you get to the top of the tree, she's like, haha, yes, the Nephrite is here, or I can't remember. Was it there?
Yeah, it was there, and she takes it and like butterfingers it and like goes to like catch it and falls off the tree.
Oh yeah, that's it. That was what happened. Yeah, it was hilarious. So you have the option to jump down after Marduk or work your way down the tree. Like Sam said, I had already ground up enough, so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna jump.
Yeah, same.
And Jupiter is a little more graceful than Marduk is, so she lands.
I love
safely.
Marduk's like passed out on the floor from smashing down 600 feet sprite.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
wonderful.
And so the Nephrite's just sitting next to her, so George goes over and takes it. Marduk's like, excuse me, now we have to fight. So Jupiter sends George off with the Nephrite and is like, go give this to Mary.
Yeah. Go get married so that I can then take this from you.
Yeah. So we have her back and forth for a little while with Jupiter asking, who's giving you orders? And Marduk's like, nobody. Now let's fight. So we fight, and Marduk goes down in like 2 hits for me because Jupiter is fucking...
She's great.
Yeah.
Got just fucking annihilated. It was very cathartic.
And so Marduk does a thing here around the fight where, because like right before the fight, it's like, who are you working for? And she's like, I don't work for anybody. I do it myself. Then after the fight, she's like, Apsu-sama, I've failed you, or whatever. It's like, okay, well, there you go. And Jupiter's like, well, I guess she's working for somebody named Apsu. So.
Yeah, I got my answer. All right. Well,
interrogation champ.
So George comes to check on us after the fight, and he's like, "Wow, you're awesome." She asks about the stone, And he's like, oh yeah, we should go back to my dad's house and talk to him about this. So head back to the mayor's place. We try to explain the situation, and he's really pissed off because he doesn't want to, like, we convince him to go over to Mishi Village, and he doesn't want to, and
He's just like,
yeah.
Yeah, and he says that the Nephrite stone was a gift from his beloved or whatever back in the day, and he lost it, and he thought that the other people took it. So when he gets up there and he's like, "Oh, I found where you hit it," the other mayor is like, "You mean you only found it now, you stupid idiot?"
Yeah.
I left it in your village in like the giant tree in the middle. It's not even like it was hidden.
Yeah. So we get back to Mishi Village, and we get the world's most confusing cutscene because we have no idea who's talking unless it's Jupiter. So
yeah, the game doesn't do like animations to indicate or have like a name with a colon. Actually, it has done that a couple times, but not in this scene.
Yeah, every now and then sprites will move around to indicate that they're facing one another, and it looks like they're probably the one talking, but it's hard to tell. But anyway,
It was so weird.
And they used way too many like pronouns without antecedents, so it's like
Yeah.
it's just like you've come here, so why don't you two apologize? Okay, who says that? Who? All the sprites are looking at each other. It doesn't help.
The
I don't
problem
know who that
there
you
with
is.
the translation is that Japanese uses a lot of context clues to determine who's talking, and I think that's probably what happened in the Japanese, and so like the translators were like, well, we're like amateurs at this anyway, so we'll just do it literally as best as we can.
Yeah.
And so they have a no you fight back and forth about who should apologize. And it turns out that the mayor of Mishi Village's sister got married to the mayor of Medias Village. So George and Mary are actually first cousins. And
Nice.
yeah. The end is basically like George thanking Jupiter for bringing the villages together and also letting us know we're fucking related.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we wouldn't have known, and that would have been really, really awkward at our wedding.
Yeah.
And we don't want to go the Rudy Giuliani route here. So that ends the chapter. Luna shows up in Canada, and we head on to Venus. And in Venus's, we immediately find Kunzite's stone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Another time that I was like, all right, this one's going to be short. I like the ruby was a fake out, but here it is. She calls it the Kunzite stone. Everything is awesome.
Yeah.
Except.
So we find Kunzite's stone immediately. There's a few chests around the area. It's like, cool. I think one of Venus's accessories came from them, which was super nice. So we immediately get ourselves powered up, at least slightly. We pick up the Kunzite stone. Cool, everything's fine. Except then an earthquake happens, a giant hole opens up, and we fall.
Yeah,
There's
it was
a lot
great.
of earthquakes and giant holes in this game.
Yeah.
So
Also,
far.
Yeah.
This game really likes like the coincidental way to fuck you
Yeah.
up.
It seemed
in its
fine,
story.
but oh
like,
no.
It's just like, oh, like you're on a mountain. Hey, here's some Yomu to fall off. You found the stone. Here's an earthquake to fall.
Yeah.
I just don't. It's extra, is what it is.
Yeah. So we fall down this hole. Artemis's I fell down sprite is really adorable.
Yeah.
And they get up, and some guy comes up to us and is like, a pretty girl. And then more guys come up and are like, a pretty girl. And we're like, okay, what the fuck?
I think it gets up to like 7 dudes just crowded around you, trying to be like, no, you're the most beautiful girl in the world. You have to come back to my place.
Yeah, marry me. No, marry me. And so Venus runs around for a while trying to get away from these douchebags. Because she's like, oh my god, this is a huge sausage fest. What is going on?
I loved this scene right here because it reminded me of the opening scene for Jack in Wild Arms 1. It's sprite based, but like he's for Jack,
Oh
he's
my gosh,
like he's Indiana Jonesing and running around to try and like avoid all the traps, and it's like super fast paced and played for comedy and stuff. And that's what this one felt like. She was like running around like, no, I don't want to go in his house. I want to go over here. They're going to find me, and it felt just like it.
Yeah.
Oh man, I somehow remember that from when I played that game one time at age 7, and I remember that thing because it was really good.
Yeah, it's because like. As an aside for Wild Arms 1 real quick, like the rest of the like intros are kind of just like make sure you talk to all the NPCs and then the plot will go on. Yeah. And then
typical person
sit
in
down. you sit down and then it's just a comedy laugh riot for like 3 minutes of sprite-based slapstick comedy, and it's pretty great.
So Venus escapes into some random house, and she's just like, "Oh, cool. Well, I guess I'll live here for now." Because I can't leave because I'll be swarmed by people. And then she hears someone come in and she's like, oh shit. And she just like hides in the bed, but you can totally see the top of her head and her bow sticking out.
I'm hiding.
Yeah, I'm totally hiding, you guys. No one's ever going to find me. And like she's whispering to Artemis like, oh, well, maybe we should just come out and reveal ourselves. And then
this right here, this is thin privilege, because those guys outside were like, you're beautiful. She goes, ooh, that's gross. And then in comes this attractive guy with a long blonde hair that's a beautiful anime boy. And he says the exact same thing. What a beautiful person. I've fallen completely in love. And Venus's response is her custom sprite of blushing. And she goes, you think I'm beautiful? I'm just like,
even thin privilege is being able to hide behind.
a pretty cool privilege.
When Bugs Bunny goes up to a light post that is 2 inches thin, 2 inches thick, and then somehow manages to hide his entire self behind it because it's a cartoon, that is thin privilege, and I do not appreciate it. Couldn't hide behind that light post.
Right?
Well, and it's funny because Artemis agrees. He's like, yeah, you are beautiful. And she's like, excuse me, what did you just say, cat?
Right. So, which, like, I can tell this is probably a clumsily translated version of, it's like, Venus is the most boy crazy out of everyone. I mean, she's the goddess of love. Like, that's what she's got to do.
Yeah.
And so, like, this is probably like supposed to be more of a meet cute, and like Artemis was like, well, yeah, of course you're beautiful. I got it. She's like, no, shut up. Like, I'm talking to the cute boy right now.
Yeah,
and
just, exactly.
The clumsiness plus the juxtaposition of the other just made it be like, what's different about this guy? You don't like bald guys that all look alike? Is that what it is?
Well, it could also be because Artemis spoke up, and he isn't. Like, he wouldn't normally talk in front of a human who isn't a Sailor Guardian or Tuxedo Common. So it could have also been her being like, excuse me, cat, you're supposed to be a cat.
That too.
So there could be that.
Yeah.
The guy's name is Darcy, by the way.
Yeah, which I thought was weird for Turkey.
Strange Turkish name, but whatever. He invites her to this big celebration that's in this temple that they have, and she's like, okay, well, I've got more important shit to do. And he's like, no, I insist, come to the party. And then you have to talk to every single NPC in the village, which is really hard to keep track of because there's a bunch of NPCs. And
the shtick of this village, I don't know if we've said it yet or not.
Yeah,
is
it's all dudes.
It's all men, and all of the unimportant dudes have the same sprite. So it's just like, did I talk to this unimportant dude?
Is this commentary?
I know.
Like, this is real meta. Oh my god, how old is this game? Because I don't feel like it's decades old. This is real. This is current.
I love that all the unimportant have the same sprite. It's just like, yeah, you're nobody. You're nothing.
Yeah.
You don't even get an original sprite. You're so not even worth talking to right now.
all these Turkish people look the same.
If only all fuckboys had the same sprite.
Yeah, right?
Right.
That would make life so much easier.
God, it would have saved me so much.
Yeah.
Lord knows,
for real.
guys.
And like we went into the temple several times thinking that we had talked to everybody, but no, there was still one guy in like the lower left corner who doesn't move around, who we had missed somehow.
Well, one thing it does to help you with that is if you talk to a person twice, their second one for every single person in the village is, I can't wait till the party tonight.
Yeah.
So if you talk to somebody, you say that, you're like, okay, I've already got this one. So you're just looking for the guy that says something different. So it's not like they say their same NPC dialogue over again. So you're just like lost and don't know. Like,
well, who did I not talk to?
Here before?
Who did I not talk to? So finally, we can finally go to the party after we've talked to literally everyone. And like it's just a bunch of dudes spinning around. just the biggest sausage fest. So we go up the stairs in the temple, and there's a big long hallway where a cutscene happens, and it pans forward, and Ishtar, who's the Sailor Venus opposite, is standing in front of a statue of Kunzite with a bunch of Grim Reapers surrounding her. And she's like, I know someone here has Kunzite stone, so you guys go look for him. Bring. She calls herself Ishtar Sama. It's a cutesy thing in Japan to call yourself by your own name.
And then, in addition, she called herself Lord Ishtar. That's
She's like, go bring Lord Ishtar the stone. Like, go do my bidding, minions. Because she thinks she's super important. And then Sailor Venus shows up. Ishtar's like, who the hell are you? And Venus gives her speech. And Ishtar's like, guys, she's annoying. So you fight all of her Yoma that she was about to send off to find whoever has Kunzite stone and one-shot them because you're Sailor Venus and you're badass. Ishtar says, it looks like you're still here. She gets real mad, and then she bumps into Kunzite's statue. And she gets like a protective bubble around herself, and she's like, ooh, that was dangerous. Well, guess I gotta leave. Oh, everybody's turned to stone. I'm just gonna go. Artemis hides behind Venus, who has also turned to stone, so that Ishtar doesn't find him, because he's okay for some reason. But Ishtar is like, all right, I'm out. Bye. And Venus comes back to normal really quickly, thankfully. And
because she's magic.
Because she's magic, yeah. So she heads out and then suddenly notices everybody is totally stoned, bro. We get a cutscene of looking around the village, and oh my god,
that takes forever.
Yeah, it takes so long.
Yeah.
So then once that's done, we finally like head out into the field because it's like, well, we got to do something about this, I guess. And the only thing we can do is go left. They also show a cave that is conveniently blocked by two people who were turned to stone. So obviously we can't go in there yet, but it's going to be important. So remember that cave. So we head over toward the next village. And this village is all ladies. Because
they keep them separate.
Yeah.
This whole thing smacks of gender.
Yeah.
They have to keep them separated. How else would the women stay safe?
Yeah, we can't let the sexes mingle. It would be bad.
No,
Men just can't help themselves by, sexually assaulting women on sight. It's just a natural thing for men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unavoidable.
So we meet up with this woman named Verna, and she's like, oh, hey, how's it going, Venus? And she's just like, what? How do you know who I am? And then we're taken to the temple that's in the lady village, which I can't remember the name of it now. I know Rias is the name of the men's village. So we go into this temple, and there's a statue of Sailor Venus in a clamshell, like the birth of Venus, and she's holding the holy moon sword.
And the best part is it is Sailor Venus. It's not even like, so they couldn't make Fareg look like Jadeite, but they could give us the literal Sailor Venus and not like a statue to like be implied to be the goddess Venus.
Yeah,
this is supposed to be.
There's
like,
also
no, she's in her scout outfit.
Yeah, she's in her Sailor Guardian outfit. She does, like, all of the girls had princess forms in the Silver Millennium, which you find out in the manga, and I assume we'll find out in Crystal at some point. Yeah. And they have, like, special dresses for those, so, it made sense also to put her in her princess dress, but I guess, like they explained, she used to come to Earth because she and Kunzite fell in love in Turkey. Okay.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well,
like, this is where we find out that all the generals were worshipped in the various places where their stones were, and
which is why they knew that's where they were at the beginning. 'Cause it just seemed convenient where they're just like, oh yeah, my stone is in the middle of Canada. Don't ask.
Yeah. Don't ask questions. So we're told that we need to go. Oh shoot.
So basically, you're talking with Verna,
Yeah,
and you're like, I don't remember anything about this village. She goes like, you visited us in a previous incarnation after the Kingdom fell, and
we have to go to
but
Castle Zagsen. That's it.
Yeah, but now that you and Serenity are reincarnated, everything is awesome again. And Venus is like, enough of that. Rias village has been turned to stone. And then Verna's like, must have been that black light, but I don't know how to restore this. But Verdina probably does.
That's it. Yeah.
And she's like, oh, she's in Castle Zagsen, so go find Verdina.
So
and
that's right. Yes, we head up to Castle Zagsen. I got killed on the way because I think it was once I entered the castle, like everything was way too strong and killed me, and like I couldn't kill them in enough crescent beam showers, so I had to grind up a bit before I could go back in. But we get into the castle and we go find Rodina, and it turns out Rodina has been turned into a horrible snake monster.
Of course,
like you do. So we fight her, and instead of killing her, it brings Rodina back to normal.
Yay!
Yeah. And then Rodina explains that Venus has to use her holy light on the Kunzite statue to bring everyone back to normal. And Venus is like, what are you talking about, Willis? I don't have a holy light. I don't know what you're talking about. And it's Artemis has to explain. It's like, your crescent beam, duh. So,
right.
She's like, oh, okay then. So at that point, we head back to Rias Village, and we use the crescent beam on Kunzite's statue, and everybody goes back to normal, and it's great. And those people blocking the cave are no longer blocking the cave.
Yay!
And we're like,
Twinky-dink.
yeah, we're like, well, how do we get back to Japan? And someone says, oh, so when you came down here, you totally had this arc that you used to come on, which... All right, apparently Venus owns a spaceship that looks like an actual ship. It's Rogue Galaxy all over again, except this came way before Rogue Galaxy. So Sailor Moon did it first. Did it first and better. Yeah. Because Sailor Venus's ship is badass looking. It's super cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I fucking love it. You also find her other accessory on that ship. It would have been helpful earlier, but, whatever.
Yeah.
So,
so on...
I forgot to mention when we got to the Kunzite statue, Ishtar showed up again, and she knocked the statue over. And she just got really angry, and then made us fight a Yoma. Like, we didn't even have to fight Ishtar. And it was a really easy Yoma to kill.
Yeah, this chapter had a lot of, like, fake outs of, like, when the boss fight was going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was going to happen, like, so many times, and it never did.
Yeah. So, on the arc, there's a room you can go into. I think it's optional, but, or no, because it does advance the story. So, you go into the room, and Artemis explains, oh, this is where you lived when you were back in the Silver Millennium, when you were a princess.
In this empty room with no furniture, this was your bedroom.
This was your life.
Hey, she was working on it.
Yeah,
it was a work in progress.
She totally had an interior decorator she'd hired, but it was too late. The Silver Millennium was destroyed before they could actually do anything with it.
Exactly.
So
the nearest IKEA was really far away.
Yeah.
So we make our way through the arc, and we finally get to fight Ishtar. And her battle sprite is the booty bump sprite, but in HD, and it makes me so happy.
It's very attractive.
Yeah, she's great.
Indeed, this is just how she stands.
Yeah. We did one Venus Wink chain sword, and she fucking died.
Yeah, she was super easy.
I think I one shot at her. Yeah, it was either one or two. It was not hard.
Yeah. Oh, before we left for the arc, we did say goodbye to Darcy. We got chased around by boys again for a while. It was great. So we kill Ishtar, and then we get Ishtar's backstory, and it's amazing.
Before we start on that one, so I think you're supposed to one shot her, because right after the battle, Artemis says, "As they say, the weakest dog barks the loudest."
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, and it's funny too, because Venus is like, Ishtar's like, "I can't believe you're stronger than me," and Venus is like, "Not only am I stronger, I'm friendlier." Like,
that's a motto.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. I'm stronger, I'm prettier, I'm nicer, I'm smarter, I'm more popular.
Yeah. So then Ishtar's like, "I'm gonna be the best. Apsu-sama's gonna love me the most." And then we get their backstory, and we see Ishtar following Nabu around, and Nabu's just going, "Yeah," every now and then.
We get the one-sided phone conversation of Nabu talking to Apsu.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
Yeah, Ishtar's like, "Who are you talking to? What's going on? You're really weird. There's no one there. I don't get this." And then, so Nabu gets beamed up, and Ishtar's like, "That's not funny. Why is she floating?" And so Ishtar runs into the beam of light, and she starts getting carried up and, like, flails around. And she gets up there, and Apsu's like, "Ugh, this guy." So
she's like, "Well, I guess you'll do. I don't want to send you back."
Yeah. I can't expend the energy to put you back on Earth, so I guess you're here now.
So good.
Yeah. So then we get back to the present. Ishtar disappears, and Artemis is like, "All right, we gotta scoot." So Venus and Artemis head back to Japan, and that's the end of the chapter. We did it.
We did it.
Oh my gosh, there was a lot to get through. Yeah.
Yeah. So time investment wise, this was only as much time as we put into like a single week of Rogue Galaxy, but because most of it was grinding and slow transitioning cutscenes, it felt so much longer.
Yeah.
And also, frankly, I was real busy this week, so it felt longer. But made it work.
Yeah, so it just, yeah, it felt really, really long. I was talking to everybody about, like, maybe we should split this up into 2 episodes, because we do have to play each of them separately. And I know the time investment isn't as long, but like we're 2 hours almost into this.
I'm glad we knocked it all out, but it was a lot.
Yeah. And the rest of them, just by like numbers alone, will be way shorter, and it'll be no big deal. But I was tricked by the number of bosses, because I didn't realize there would be so many trash mobs this time.
Yeah,
like actual dungeons and actual towns, and running around and doing all the normal RPG shit.
Yeah,
because like normally when I do like when with me and Matt going through Wild Arms, that doesn't have chapters, so I just count bosses and be like, okay, there's like 500 bosses or whatever. We'll do 10 of them and go on from there. But so for this one, I was like, oh well, the number of bosses are the exact same, and the guy that I'm doing, he basically is like, it's a written Let's Play. Has way too much information on it, and the like length of paragraphs were approximately the same too. And I'm like, okay, like this looks like it's a lot, but it's a lot shorter and it's because he didn't talk about the grinding, and it's literally the grinding that made all of this bad.
Yeah,
like it is probably the same amount of time in a cutscene as chapter 1 as well, but there's just so much grinding you have to do.
Yeah,
but.
Well, also, I was actually the opposite. It wasn't, I mean, that I didn't anticipate grinding because I was like, okay, the game's happening for real now. I was really expecting each person's scenario to be simpler from a plot perspective. You know, like,
Yeah.
you show up, you find the thing, you get it. But each person had this, like, actual story with, like, multiple plot points and stuff. So, there's quite a lot of cutscenes as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of what you just said, Sam, please remind me later. Going by bosses is also definitely not going to work for either of the games that I'm going to announce. So I'll definitely have to
going to announce here in 5 seconds. I forgot we were supposed to do that today.
Yeah, but I'll definitely have to make sure that I find a method of planning that does not involve boss count, because both of those games, if I recall, are very inconsistent with their bosses.
Okay.
Great.
Cool.
Yeah,
I click both of them, so it's fine. I'll figure it out.
I mean, part of the problem too was that this chapter started you off on like the hardest one.
Yeah, for sure. That would get it was demoralizing.
If we could have had like Jupiter's first, where like they're like being bad at it wasn't such a steep thing, like because hers was easier to get through. If we could have like started with one that difficult, and then by the time we got to Venus's had Ami's chapter, like that would have been fine. But yeah, it was rough.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about our favorite parts real quick? I know we're pretty far into this. Personally, I fucking love Ishtar.
Yeah, Ishtar's really good.
Yeah, Jupiter is by far my favorite of the original 5 Guardians. I do like Venus. I adore her stupid counterpart in this because Ishtar is just so bumbling and like she's only there out of convenience.
Totally.
Yeah. But she thinks she's amazing, which is great.
My favorite would probably have to be Tsundere Mars.
yeah.
Just because like I haven't watched a lot of the original, so I don't know a boy crazy Mars. I only know the I hate men Mars from Crystal, and so just seeing her suddenly be like Baka.
I recommend as far as like going through the original like source material. I recommend if you're gonna watch anything, you watch Crystal first because it's much more true to the manga.
And the best part is it's shorter. You can get through the whole storyline of all of it in 36 episodes instead of 250.
Unfortunately, we don't have the entire series in Crystal just yet. The Dream Arc is going to be 2 movies, which we still don't know much of anything about, unfortunately. But I always recommend going with manga over original anime, but also watch the original anime afterwards because there are some good things that the anime does that did not happen in the manga. Like it focuses more on like the villains than you get in the manga. You get a lot more character development for the bad guys, which is really cool.
And then also the original anime is the reason why if we got a new Sailor Moon RPG, I would want it to be made by the Persona team. Because in the original anime, you go to school like every episode.
In Crystal, it's almost too easy.
In Crystal, you go to school to meet Ami and Jupiter, and then you never go back to school because you're too busy fighting the whole rest of the time. And so, like, the original anime definitely is exploring all the social links, and then the Crystal is just going to the plot through Tartarus.
And there's so many side characters you could do that with. So it would be really, really cool. And they could easily incorporate manga characters too.
Yeah, and hopefully Blue Reflection will be that good, because that's basically somebody was like, I don't have the rights to Sailor Moon, I want a Sailor Moon persona, so I'm going to make it myself.
Yeah.
So
what about you, Spiffle? What was your favorite part?
So favorite part is I was gonna say this earlier, but what was it? Favorite part is I don't know. All the music is really great, and Sailor Jupiter rules. I do briefly have to share a fun little fact that I meant to share before but forgot. I am 1 degree removed from the person who voices Sailor Venus in Sailor Moon Crystal.
What?
Oh, really? Yeah, it's like one of Bernard's best friends.
What?
Wild.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And also, she voices lots of other things too. But that's yeah. I asked him, hey, which Sailor Scout does she voice, and he couldn't remember. But I just looked it up. Yeah, Jeremy. Jeremy Lee.
Can we get her on the podcast? I would die. I would absolutely die.
Also, I just looked her up and I recognized the name of her husband, and I thought, I think I'm Facebook friends with that guy, but actually I'm not. Yeah, 1 degree removed. So that's cool. Bernard's like, oh yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, it's great, like he's happy for her, but also when you have a friend who's just like really successful, you're like, man, why is my friend so successful and I'm not?
Why not me? Why not me? Yeah, it's really hard not to feel that way.
So like over the last couple of years, she's just been getting more and more and more, having an incredible career, and Murr's just like, man, now I feel like I'm a dummy.
Oh my god, like I'm having a fangirl moment. Like,
oh
my gosh. Because I love Sailor Venus's new voice. I think she's great. I love all the new voices actually. Like the Viz dub, fucking fantastic.
So good. Especially Usagi/Serena's voice.
Yeah, Usagi is great. But they did a fantastic job with all the casting. I think in this case, like Naoko Takeuchi, the creator of Sailor Moon, actually like consulted her, because like the original Usagi voice or Serena's voice in the Deke dub, not the original one, but the second one who came in, terrible, so terrible. And Takeuchi even wrote in one of the manga, like, yeah, I started watching the English dub, and it's okay. Serena's voice is too deep, but other than that, I think they did a pretty decent job. So, they did a great job with the casting. I want to meet Bernard just so I can be 1 degree of separation from Sailor Venus. That would be amazing. But yeah, that's probably too big an ask. But if there's any
right
way.
Now you're 2 degrees away from Sailor Venus now, Eli, which means you're 3 degrees away from Sailor Moon. So, so now you can like put that on your business card. You're like, I'm only 3 degrees of separation.
3 degrees of separation from Sailor Moon. My Sailor Eli laminated business cards that I give out. Yeah. Sorry. Oh boy. Anyway.
Anywho, so some shoe leather for the podcast. So this game is really short. We're going to beat it in 5 episodes, and I like to have the polls up for the next game up for 3 episodes, and then 1 episode off before we start the next one. So 5 minus 1 minus 3 equals 2. So on the second episode of Sailor Moon, we're announcing
That's right.
the poll for
we're already
the
on the next game, baby.
So, Spiffle, these are your auto-by-RPGs, so take it away.
That's such a good word. So for my auto-by-RPGs, I actually had to put a lot of thought into it because we had a few restrictions, right? Like, I kind of wanted to basically go with either DS or PlayStation family just because we decided that would be easiest for everybody. And the first thing I thought of, actually I think Sam thought of it, was, well, Michael, you love Dragon Quest so much, you could just game the system, pick 2 Dragon Quest games, and then force everyone to play a fucking Dragon Quest game. And I didn't, even though I would love to force everyone to play Dragon Quest games, the idea of gaming the system and not really giving y'all a real choice seemed like an asshole thing to do. So I tried really hard to find a way to not have to do that. And it actually took me a lot of work. Because most of the games that are really important to me are either not on those consoles or are like Final Fantasy and they're too popular. But eventually I finally settled on one. So our 2 games are Dragon Quest V and Xenogears.
Yay!
Dragon Quest V, there's a few different ways to play it, but there's only one legal way to play it in English, which is the DS version, which luckily that
there
version...
There are 2 legal ways to play it. Play it.
Yeah.
The phone... There's a phone app.
Yeah, well. So the DS version was ported to mobile, and they're the exact same game. The DS version might play better because it's real buttons. The iPhone version looks incredible because it's so crisp. Point is, they're the same damn game.
And the Dragon Quest so far out of all mobile RPGs I've played has the best mobile interface.
They honestly, I feel like they're a perfect fit for mobile. I haven't played that version because I've already played it and it's $20 or 15, but yeah, it's great. And then the other game is it's Xenogears. So here's my quick little pitch for them. So full disclosure, Dragon Quest V is the better game. Dragon Quest V is a fucking masterpiece. It is one of the absolute greatest RPGs ever made. It almost justifies like the existence of RPGs as a genre. Like if you're wondering like why, if you're wondering like it's not just that I like them. It's like yeah, I like these games, but like what makes an RPG actually a thing that you should do? You know, like why would you choose to tell a story using an RPG instead of using some other kind of game? Or instead of using a movie or a book, like what is the actual intellectual justification for this format? And Dragon Quest V basically is the answer. And also it's incredible. Now Xenogears, so that's the full disclosure. I definitely like one of these games better than the other, and I feel like anybody would probably agree. But that doesn't mean you have to go vote for it, because Xenogears kind of owns in its own way. My favorite critic, Jim Rogers, once called it the best game of all time and the worst game of all time, loaded into either end of the Large Hadron Collider. And it's a fucking stupid as hell game. It's a combination of so bad it's good, so bad it's just bad, bad but in a weird, cute way, pretty good, and jaw-droppingly good. Like, it's a combination of all those things.
I thought you were going to say jaw-droppingly awful.
No, jaw-droppingly, astonishingly good. As a kid, I thought it was the best damn thing I'd ever seen in my life. As I grew up, I realized it was dumb as shit, and then I looped around to appreciating it in a lot of ways. I would love to replay either of these games. Also, there's a low-key secret theme between these two games, besides just I like them. They both have the same graphical style, which is to say they both have 3D...
Dragon Ball Z.
Well, no. They both have 3D environments with 2D sprites.
Yeah.
I associate... the Akira Toriyama style of art. Like, I immediately associate it with Dragon Ball Z, and so, like, I've never played Chrono Trigger or Dragon Quest, because I'm always like, it looks like DBZ, and I don't care about DBZ, so I'm not super interested.
Well, you're wrong on two reasons there. DBZ owns, but honestly, Toriyama's a great artist, and honestly, he puts a lot of Dragon Quest. Sometimes Toriyama can phone things in. He kind of is like, he has a reputation for being a lazy motherfucker. Dragon Quest is the thing he does not phone in. His art is so fucking good for Dragon Quest. But yeah, so I don't have much more of a pitch besides that. If you want a brilliantly constructed, just game that's perfect in every way, but also maybe is a little low key. Because Dragon Quest V is definitely, it's sweet, it's warm, it's fuzzy, it's low key. Xenogears is giant and extra.
For like basic plot that I understand from both of them, because I also haven't played them and I forgot that we were doing this and I didn't build out the pitch document for Patreon yet. But Xenogears is about giant fighting robots, and Dragon Quest V is the movie Boyhood, but an RPG.
Yeah.
Where you start as a 5-year-old and you end as an old man.
Yeah,
I understand from it.
I thought of not saying that, but yeah, I mean, I guess you can look at you start the game and you're a child, and you literally look at the box art of the game and you're not a child, so it's not that much of a spoiler, I guess. That's the basic gimmick, is that you grow up. But Xenogears, just so you know, is made by seriously, I forget his name. Whatever. It's the guy who basically was involved with Chrono Trigger and involved with Chrono Cross, but then went on to make Xeno Saga and basically games that have Xeno in front of them. Takahashi.
Yeah.
His last name is Takahashi. He's great. I really love him. And in fact, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is what made me rethink Xenogears, because Xenoblade Chronicles is so fucking good. I'm like, this guy has an idea of what he wants. He wants to make the platonic ideal of the anime game for teenagers. That's just like really extra, really ridiculous, but also very maximalist and just beautiful, and as well put together as possible. And Xenogears was the first iteration of that, and that's why I can appreciate it. Like, I thought, this guy's just ripping off of Evangelion, which had come out 2 years previously. But he wasn't ripping off of Evangelion, he just fucking loves Evangelion. Like, that's different, an artist being like, wow, this was incredible, I want to do that. That's a lot different than cynical, this is popular, we should rip it off.
Yeah.
So it's really beautiful in that way. Also, both games have incredible music. That's also, they're both a little tough. Maybe like Persona 3 tough. You're gonna have to pay attention to both of them. And they're both, I think they're probably, Xenogears is probably around 50, 55 hours. Dragon Quest V is probably a good bit less than that, especially the version we'll be playing, because the version we'll be playing, they made it easier, basically, and less grindy. So lengthwise, Dragon Quest V would be a little shorter, which either means fewer episodes or just less work for each episode. So that's, yeah, those are all the differences I have to give. Feel free to vote for either. I will be hyped either way.
Yeah, me too. This is like with Okage and Rogue Galaxy. I was going to be happy with either one that we played.
Yeah.
So this one, like, I'm not even like stressing out if well, I have to vote for this one on the best of the rest in January type thing. It's like, oh, either one's going to be going to be great.
Like, don't get me wrong. I'll be sad if I don't get to explain my bullshit opinions on Dragon Quest. That way y'all are on the same page with me and going forward. But on the other hand, I haven't played Xenogears since a very long time ago and would love to revisit it. So
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, those are the games that we'll be playing. And just so that we don't crash Dropbox when we put these giant files in it,
oh my God.
I think we should finish up for the day.
Yeah, we should.
So if you like what you hear and you want to help us cover hosting costs and game costs, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/rpgbookclub. And if you just want to talk to us, we have a Twitter at rpgbookclub and email at rpgbookclub@gmail.com. And our favorite, our Discord, shout out to our homies on Discord. And it doesn't have a catchy URL, so it's you'll be able to click it in the description. We also have it pinned to the top of our Twitter. If you email us, I'll send it to you. Like any way you want to find it, we can help you get to it. So then next week we will play Chapter 3, which I don't remember what it's called.
Barazuisho.
The Barazuisho
Means rose crystal.
Yeah.
Cool.
Which is a mistranslation of the golden crystal for this.
Yeah, they didn't have... I don't think the manga was caught up enough, and they didn't know about Mamoru having the golden crystal at that point. So that they just...
So they didn't know what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, they just fucking made one up, and I don't think he even technically has his own Sailor Crystal in... Well, no, he does, but they never name it in the anime.
Yeah. But, yeah.
Awesome.
So we'll be doing that. And I'm excited for it. It should be super short. And I know from the save file at the end of the chapter that you get to play as Chibi, so I'm super excited.
Yes.
For RPG Book Club, I have been Sam Allman.
I've been Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
I have been Michael Spiffle-Webbin.
I've been Michael Rodriguez. Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.